Okay, so this was phase one. This is known as pitch 8, which is this is the same size as the stadium that we've had it constructed, and this is basically used for just for the club. So we have academy sessions on it every day. They do take a pounding. We're looking at quite a lot of hours of play on both of them, and the like I say, the size dimensions the same as the Valley pitch, and and I think in the coming weeks, when they come back for pre-season training, it's going to be a useful training aid. I know it's not natural turf, but we have got the ability to irrigate them around the outside just to speed play up and just to cool them down as well a little bit, because the 3G surfaces in the height of summer and pre-season, the ground can get quite hot. So if we can cool it off, that'll make it that'll make it a nicer environment for them to continue their training and games on. What we're looking at the moment is phase 2 of our phase 5 programme, and this is the community trust pitch that we're putting in, and also a little bit of a shared venture with Footscray Rugby Club. That you can see that started on the 3rd of April, and it's progressing quite nicely. You can see the drainage that's been put in 10 metre centres, and hopefully we'll be on them not too far into the season. Okay, so what we're looking there now is what they call a lateral drain installation, and basically what we've got is the run of sand, which you can see that run lengthways up the field. There are lateral drains that are going in, and they're going in at what they call at 5 metre centres. So every 5 metres we'll be having a lateral drain run, where previously we were on roughly 7, and you know, they've been in the ground a long time, so they didn't really function that much. So we're looking to drain the whole field. So what the lads are doing there, they're cutting the trench. So they're on the blue tractor is the trencher, which is, you can see just on the conveyor, it's spitting out a load of soil up into the trailer, and that we're laying the pipes as we go, just onto, you know, by the side of the trench. And once the trench is finished, they just roll the pipe in, and we'll be backfilling with sand. And once all the drainage is done, we'll be looking at working in between the drain runs and ameliorating some additional sand. Roughly 1,000 tonnes, which is out there, another 300 tonnes to go, and what we'll do, that will get cultivated and ameliorated in to create a freer draining top layer of soil. So when it absolutely chucks it down, we've got the drains to take it away, but it can permeate through the soil, because we've raised the top soil slightly with some screen soil that was saved on the project from the top, screened to get rid of all the stones and all the muck out of it. It was a good quality soil that was on top on the indigenous site up there. It's quite sandy and not like this bottom end with the heavy clay, and ameliorate that in, and then hopefully we get a really good root zone that will sustain good plant growth and give a good playing surface. It's the problems that we had in the training ground in the past is that we haven't dealt with the extremes very well. So you can have decent pitches or nice pitches that people are okay with, but when you have the extremes of extreme hot, extreme dry, extreme wet, we couldn't deal with them here. You know, we saw a couple of years ago that, you know, we were having to ferry people in at the front in sort of around Christmas time in minibuses because the entrance was flooded. You know, we've serious, you know, hot conditions and drought. We just can't get enough water out there. We run out of water in our irrigation tank. Those kind of conditions, and particularly now where surface hardness is such a key element in training, that we were struggling to deliver that. We couldn't do that on the soil type, and secondly, just because we couldn't get enough water out there. And with this, I can point out to you the irrigation runs that come out to one of the centre of the pitches there, so that the red and white ranging pole that's in the centre of the pitch by the obligatory cardboard box will be a centre sprinkler for the pitches. We've not had that before. You can see with one of the pop-ups on the side of the pitch just in front of you there in the ground. So although we've had those before, we're moving it to a different level. And with that, we're hoping that that facility is going to be much more purpose-built for football these days. This is like the hinging point of the whole project, really. All of the phases that we're doing is this is kind of like the working guts of it, if you like, because what we have just beyond the first trench, if I touch on that first, that's a pumping station. So the pumping station in there, that will take all the drainage water from the newly constructed pitches, and which is, you can see the drain run with the T-pieces that are sticking up in the air, which with the round bits on the top. So they're going to be inspection chambers for every lateral. So every lateral will drain into that, and gravity will take it down, because the lowest part of the site will take us down into the pumping station, which is a 10,000 litre tank. From there, the idea is once connected, we'll pump back up to pump station number 1, which is sort of halfway in the site, if you like, which is between the main training ground and just before you go into pitches 7 and 8 and up to the community trust part of it, where it's pumped to a second pump station, and then from there it will return on another 250 metres up to the irrigation lake. So it's a water harvesting system where the drains will run into that, and then we'll get pumped back up to the lake where we can reuse the water if it doesn't get used up, and also collect the drainage water. So what we have in the trench, as you see at the moment, is the lateral drain runs, collector drains. Then next to that, a small black one, that's the irrigation main feed, which is feeding all the irrigation around the site. Again, that will get what's not used will get returned into there, and then will fire itself back up into the lake. The grey one next to that, without the blue cap on, that is drainage pipe for the next phase, which is phase 4, when we do the old South East Counties pitch, the old pitch 1, where most anyone that's visited the training ground to watch the 18s game is our match pitch, which most people know, and the pitch behind that, pitch 2, which obviously we need to keep because we need to function at the early part of the season for the pros. So we have the lateral collector drains into the pipe, then we've got the irrigation main next to it, then the drains for the new phase, getting ready because we don't want to dig the ground up again, that's just daft, and then the irrigation return, which will send it back to the lake. In the trench itself, we're looking at, we've had gas that's came in this week, because the training ground, we don't have a gas supply, so that's being brought in, ready for the next phase as well, and there'll be high voltage and low voltage coming in the service trench, along with some form of fibre optic cable for communications as well. This is the irrigation lake that we spoke about earlier on, where the pump systems are linked up to. Obviously the price of irrigation water is quite a lot, and so we also need to do our bit for the environment as well. So this is the end point of the water harvesting system. So with the drains that we saw down the bottom end, linking up to that to the pump station at the bottom, all of that gets pumped back up to this. So you can see a small pipe that's running now. That's collecting groundwater and being draining out from the opposite side of the lake, where we do have a high groundwater problem at times at the training ground, especially higher up. So we up this end of the site, so we're still draining down the bank from that side, and that's continued to discharge. So the one to the left, that's the return from the pump station, which is the closest, and that will, when the drainage water reaches that point, then it gets pumped up to the lake. So it goes from pump 2, which is at the bottom gate, the next pump station up, which is pump number 1, because that was the way that they were put in, and then returns it to the lake. And the 2 pipes are inactive below that at the bottom. That's irrigation in and out and irrigation return. The water looks like it was going to get a little bit murky. We know that it's going to collect a little bit, but that shouldn't be a problem. So we've considered that, and invested in sprinklers that can use like dirty water, if you like. So it doesn't have to be quite as clean, but as long as it's not going to cause a problem for the plant, which we're going to monitor. So it's not going to be a problem. It's ultimately rainwater anyway. So so we've kind of had that built into the design. So it's going to be a good system. It's nice to see that we're trying to do something as well, because the new pitches these days, and the way that we need to irrigate for training and for games and things, it's we're almost offsetting that as a cost down the line. So obviously water isn't going to cost what it takes to construct this lake and everything else to begin with, but down the line you see the benefits of that. Okay, we're keeping hold of these just purely because of our risk management process. Well, a couple of reasons really. Risk management in terms of if they're not ready by the time the players return, we'll have nowhere to train. Yeah, we need to keep these going, and also as well, once we do get on them on a permanent basis, we can come off of these, and because of moving on to phase 4, which will be shifting this pitch down, because we've got quite a bit of dead space in between, so the pitch gets shifted down, and then the new building gets built on the old 3G, and it takes up quite a bit of space, and we'll come on to around about the 18-yard line on that other side, up the length of the pitch.